Hello friends, so welcome to this lecture on FTPS, HTTPS and SSL certificates. So in this lecture we'll study how we can use these different protocols to secure the data within the Azure Web App Service or while using the Web App Service. See, one thing is very good in case of Microsoft is it provides you the features like SSL certificates or FTPS to secure the data or to protect against any kind of unencrypted connection. So you can enforce things like the use of HTTPS or outdated protocols like TLS 1.0, like which is no longer secure. So we'll discuss that in a moment. So FTPS, if you know, there are two ways to secure basically the transfer of files using the FTPS, because FTP is using the plain text to transfer the data. The data is not encrypted at all. So the first one is we can use the SFTP and the other method is FTPS. So Microsoft provides the FTPS, wherein we use the SSL capability along with the FTPS to secure the data so that there should not be eavesdropping attack or should not be a man in the middle attack, because the data is encrypted and no one will be able to get the data. So whenever you deploy files to the Azure Web App, there are several methods. You can use FTP, you can use it for the VSTS, GitHub, but there are different methods. So if you are using FTP, Microsoft recommends the use of FTPS to basically do the secure transfer of your data, and that is about the FTPS. Now we'll come to the enforcement of HTTPS and the use of SSL certificates. See, whenever you create a app within the Azure and you get a domain name and it is already accessible with the HTTPS, and but as a customer, as a security administrator, you are having the option, if you are using the dev environment or something like that, if you want to use HTTP only, you do that. So there are different options. You can see that you can use HTTPS only. With the help of just a radio button, you can enforce all these settings. And if you have purchased a custom domain name, you can basically bind your SSL certificate within that particular domain if you have purchased that. So all these options we have. There are several types of certificates which are used by the app service. And another good thing in case of Azure is, like, that our if you'll see, we can basically enforce the use of TLS version and HTTPS. So you see there are different versions of TLS as given: 1.0, 1.1 and 1.2. Because if you'll see from a security perspective, 1.0 TLS 1.0 is no longer a secure version. And even if you'll go by the certain regulatory standards like PCI and DSS, which is Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards, so it basically disable, it does not allow the unsecure versions like TLS 1.0. So it basically recommends that, okay, either you should use the TLS 1.1 or TLS 1.2. So ideally the TLS 1.2 is the secured version which should be used. So with the help of these radio buttons under the SSL settings, you can simply do that. And apart from that, there are different type of certificates which you can bind with your custom domains. The first one is like free app service managed certificates, which you can use for your custom domain names. The second is app service certificate. So it's a private certificate which you can get it from Azure and managed totally by the Azure. So there are, different options we have in this case. And then the other words is having the third party certificates. Like if you are having the custom domain name and you have purchased a certificate from the Verizon, Digiters, DigiCert, Entrust, there are a number of other third-party certificate CA authorities, you can say, from where you can buy the certificates. So you can also use that. And then is the certificate imported from your Azure Key Vault. If you have that private key or you are managing the certificates within your Azure Key Vault, then you can basically import that certificate or use that certificate from the Key Vault as well. So these are the different options with the help of which we'll be able to secure data within our Azure Web App Service, because there might be a possibility your Azure Web App Service is communicating with the SQL database, right, or other services within the Azure. So with the help of which you'll be able to, whichever the connections are being maintained with these services, so they are secure at the backend. So that is why it is recommended that, okay, we should enforce the use of HTTPS or SSL to make the secure transfer of data. So this is it, friends. In this lecture we discussed about the use of FTPS, HTTPS and SSL certificates and the different certificates we can use to bind with our custom domain names. So thank you, friends. Thank you for watching this lecture. Meet you in the next lecture.